Hi all, welcome to Module 5. So for this discussion, we're looking at SRS 2.3 and 2.5. Specifically, we are not looking if our objectives are measurable at either the course or module level, which would actually be SRS 2.1 and 2.2, but we're looking for where those objectives are provided and if they're written from the student's perspective. And then of course 2.5 is also looking to see if our objectives are suitable for the course level. In the discussion board, it does also mention 3.2 and 3.3. This particular discussion actually focuses more on that 2.3 and 2.5, that location, perspective, and suitability standard. So for this example, I'm still going to be using English 101. I'm going to open up our syllabus here to take a look at our objectives. So our course level objectives are prominently located within that course syllabus that students have access to in Module 1. In our course, we actually call these learning goals versus learning objectives. Our goals are mandated by the institution, so these may not be the best examples of well-written objectives from that standpoint of SRS 2.1. But here we have an example of what those are and where they are located. You can see that this would meet the standard of being written by the student perspective, as we do have that written in students will gain the following. And we also make sure to use easy to understand language, and we're avoiding some of that jargon. And as you'll see as we look at my module level objectives, when we get over to our module 2 page, that where we do use language that might be new to students, we also provide a link to a description or definition of what that is and some examples. So as mentioned, you can see that some of these aren't great. We do use learn, so it's not really measurable. We could, hopefully someday we'll change those, but these are mandated, so we are limited in what we can do there. Going over to Module 2, and as we go through this course, this workshop together, you'll see a little bit more about how I organize modules, in that I tend to use the same kind of format every module, where each module will start with this overview page, where we include an overview and purpose to give students a sense of what we're doing and why we're doing it. We list the learning objectives, which again are written in that student perspective kind of context there. And as mentioned, we do also have these links that will take students to definitions of these terminology that we're using throughout the course. So hopefully they'll be a little more familiar with it by the end. The course level objectives, again, they do meet that SRS 2.3 standard being prominently located in the course syllabus, which again is provided in Module 1. And as mentioned, they're written in that students will gain experience in the following areas, which meets the written by or written in student perspective standard there. Our Module 2 objectives, again mentioned, they're in this module homepage. They meet the standard being prominently located because this is the first page that students will see at the beginning of each module. Another aspect for both of these is, again, that we've crafted them in those easily understood language, so we're avoiding that jargon. In terms of 2.5, I think that we meet this pretty well because with the way that we've crafted these, the language, the verbs that we're using, and what we're asking students to accomplish is pretty low in that cognitive realm area. So we're staying in that understand area. And then here you can also see we're getting into that apply area. So we are having students kind of move through that Bloom's triangle, where they're moving up the triangle, up the pyramid into those higher ordered thinking levels. Our course objectives also do well with this. It's important to note this is a 100 level course, so we're looking for objectives that are suitable for beginning learners, and since we are concentrating in those lower to mid cognitive levels, it would meet that standard. So hopefully this gives just a little bit of insight on what we're looking at, what we mean by 2.3 and 2.5. Something I do want to point out that it's not just about making sure 2.5 or 2.3 rather, it's not just about making sure that you use the phrase students will gain the experience in the following, but making sure that we're not using subject-heavy jargon that students might not be familiar with yet. So using simpler, easier to understand language. It's also key that we use that language. It's easier to understand if we have non-native speakers or students who are new to the subject area. So I hope that this helps. Please feel free to ask me any questions in the comments below.